Mic check one, testing 1, 2. Mic check 4, testing 1, 2.
Oh, it would be important to get my computer out.
I believe they can win. I don't believe they will. I believe they can. He did that the other night.
Did he?
He did something along the same lines.
Oh, that
so we
was-
would have been just taking it from them.
Huh?
We would have been just stealing
But
it
if
from
I
them.
never saw it.
You say we're hot?
Yeah.
Okay. Hot mics.
And we're Facebook Live.
We're Facebook Living. Where's the Facebook Live cam?
Maybe
Is it
it's
just
the-
it goes straight?
Yeah, everything is all in one.
Oh, wow. Facebook Live.
Fancy.
Okay, so the one thing about Facebook Live, though, is if you ask us questions on Facebook Live, we will not be seeing those questions. So if you have questions for us, we will answer them on X's and Omar Overtime right after the show. Send them to us on Twitter using the hashtag XOMAR. Or if you're watching us on Facebook and you aren't on Twitter, then go to Sentinel.com and go to the player to watch. What do they click on the website? It's
on the sports pages.
Yeah, it's just the main thing on the sports site. Right? You can't miss it. Can't miss it.
This guy Matt Lincoln is so hard to find on Instagram.
Problem is I don't use Instagram enough.
Yeah, I could see how that could be a problem.
You know, I mean, you just got so much time to social media.
It's only the #1 tool that we can utilize now to get people aggregating to where we need them
It's
to
so
be.
true. It's so true. I'm not disagreeing with you. It's just,
Huh?
it's a lot.
Okay, why can't I find X's and Omar on the Sun Sentinel Dolphins page? That would be a major problem for me. I know I sent out a link, but why is it not posted on the Dolphins page? Let's look on the sports page. I'm gonna breathe. I'm gonna breathe.
Jay Ajayi
Oh,
is working in
excellent.
practice right now.
Perfect. What about?
Byron Maxwell's leaving the practice field with a trainer.
Okay, Byron Maxwell's not playing.
Jelani Jenkins, Spencer Pasinger,
Please God,
not
say
at
Jelani
practice.
Jenkins.
Not at practice.
Spencer Pasinger.
Not at practice. Yes.
Okay. Ooh, Neville Hewitt. And what about Jordan Phillips? He got hurt.
I think he's still in the locker room figuring out his next tweet at you.
Oh boy, he put some time and effort into that one. As I say all the time, I take shots.
Sure.
I criticize players.
Hey,
It is what it is. If you can dish it, you can take it out.
No one in this building picked them to make the playoffs.
Yeah. Come on, Chicks on Live. Yes. Give me 1 second.
He doesn't mean 1 second. He means longer than 1 second.
Live link. Okay. Bum, 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 bum. That one right there. So much you got to do. Kathy, were you about to curse?
Hot mics.
Oh, Kathy,
doesn't
you
make
can't
sense.
credential people for the Outback Bowl? Okay, all right. I cannot get it, but this computer system is pretty slow today. You'd think less people in the office would make it faster.
They're taking their Wi-Fi with them.
I see this.
People leaving, they take their Wi-Fi.
Okay, let's rock.
All right.
Let's rock.
Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second.
One second.
Good. All right. Okay. Boom, 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 boom. All right.
Okay. Are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm going to count down from 5. We're live in 5, 4, 3, 2.
Welcome to the Week 17 edition of X's and Omar. Alongside Sun Sentinel Dolphins columnist Omar Kelly, I'm CBS 12 sports director Matt Lincoln. Earlier this season, one of the hosts of this show said talking in the playoffs and this team was Fantasyland. Welcome to Fantasyland. We're here, Omar. We have a playoff berth set in our schedule to go to.
Absolutely. Only thing is, which opponent will they face? Pittsburgh Steelers or the Houston Texans? If they get to the 5th seed, Kansas City has to lose to San Diego to help Dolphins get to the 5th seed. And of course, Dolphins have to beat the Patriots, but, you know, that's going to be tougher said than done.
Patriots and the Chiefs both have something left to play for. So those aren't going to be easy wins. I would, if you really want to gamble and book your tickets now, it's probably about a 90 to 10 chance that this game is going to be in Pittsburgh.
I've got my hotel room already booked in Pittsburgh.
Do you really?
Absolutely.
Good for you. So this was a wild.
Booked it before the Bills game. Just so
No, you did not.
We did. Me and Dave Hyde, we booked them before the Bills game, before the end of the Bills game.
Good for you. Well, and you would have had to book it all the way. If you waited until knowing when the win was going to come, you had to wait till the absolute last moment as this team found another way to win this one seemed like the most wildest thing of all of them. So many different things needed to happen. The Franks field goal at the end, the Carpenter missed field goal, the long touchdown run from Jay Ajayi when it sort of looked like this game was going to end in a tie, 34-31. Just a crazy game.
You know, we talk about it all season. The 2016 Miami Dolphins are a resilient bunch. They are backed up against the corner, and they continue to fight, continue to swing, and somehow, some way, they swing so much, they eventually hit a knockout punch. And they're like, oh, okay, another opponent. This team has won 9 of 10 games, and I've been mocked by Jordan Phillips and a number of Dolphins players because, you know, one of the QAM hosts said, you know, the Dolphins can win 10 games. And I was like, come on, man. Like, slow down. That would require them to win 7 of the final 9 games at that point. And lo and behold, they've won
7 of 8.
7 of 8 games. So it's quite impressive. More evidence that this is a turnaround. More evidence that there's so much upside. And I wrote in today's Sun Sentinel, Wednesday Sun Sentinel, a column where this team, we talked about it last week in X's and Omar, this turnaround to playoff team has a lot more staying power than that 2018. Because that 2018 was propped up by an aged and old and fragile quarterback, by a wildcat gimmicky running game, by a secondary that was made on law that was basically depleted by free agency. The secondary is not going anywhere. Jay Ajayi is not going anywhere. The offensive line, and Ryan Tannehill or Matt Moore, whichever you prefer, they're both going to be back. So hopefully you can continue to take the steps in the right direction, build this defense because, well, good Lord, they need a lot of help, and this you should be able to sustain success.
We'll talk about those quarterbacks a little bit more in a minute. What's most remarkable to me about what the Dolphins have done is we were very critical early in the season about, before the season started, about the lack of depth on this team.
Oh, yes. And I still stand by that.
But despite how many things have gone wrong for them, Rashad Jones going out, Mike Pouncey going out, Ryan Tannehill going out.
Koemisi, don't forget Koemisi.
Koemisi going out.
Missing Earl Mitchell for half the year.
Xavier Howard going out.
Jenkins doesn't play. I mean, you're basically playing with an entire secondary, 3 backups out of 4 spots in the secondary, and then 1 starting linebacker, because Koemisi's out, Jelani Jenkins is out, and hell, Spencer Pasinger's not practicing. He's banged up. So who is going to play next to Koemisi?
I think what we found out about this Dolphins team is it doesn't matter.
Jesus Lord.
They just keep finding ways to win.
I don't know how they keep doing it. My answer is good coaching, because they need an infusion of talent, especially on defense.
But the thing is, the argument is not that much, because they keep winning with these guys that they've got?
You're only 31st against the run. You're
all those stats are fine.
You can't defend a tight end.
10 wins.
Somehow.
Finding ways to win.
Absolutely.
Let's take our first Twitter question. It comes from Luke. I feel like we start the show with a question from Luke every week.
Luke is the best question asker.
He's got great questions. What has been the 3 biggest factors which led to a playoff berth for the Dolphins in 2016?
Really, we talked about it earlier. Coaching. Adam Gase and Vance Joseph, who is being mentioned for a number of head coaching jobs to at least get an interview, maybe as a Rooney Rule candidate, they have done a phenomenal job. Players are getting better than when, who would have thought Tony Lippett would have 4 interceptions at this point in the season and would be considered a solid starting NFL cornerback? Nobody.
No, nobody.
Who would have thought Bakari Rambo can come in here at the bye week and become a starting decent NFL safety for the Dolphins? Nobody. Who would have thought that you would be playing with a linebacker unit of Neville Hewitt and Spencer Paysinger and Donald Butler, and they be getting the job done? Nobody. And somehow they just continue to find a way. Then a lot of it is also on the secondary. This secondary is carrying this defense. No matter what you want to think about Byron Maxwell, Tony Lippett, Bobby McCain, Xavier Howard, they're carrying this defense. It's the pass rush and the pass coverage, because they can't stop the run, as you've seen week after week after week. They just wait for you to get in a situation where it's a third down, and they're the number 1 third down defense in the NFL. And that is a credit to the pass rushing and the safety and the secondary play. So that, and then Ryan Tannehill, while he's not starting for the Dolphins now, and Matt Moore has led them to 2 victories, has a 113 quarterback rating, thrown for 6 touchdowns, and is doing a great job for Matt Moore. Ryan Tannehill took that next step and became a clutch quarterback, playing a little bit better on third downs, playing a little bit better, more one of the NFL's best red zone quarterbacks, and produced fourth quarter victories. That's Ryan Tannehill.
And let's also not forget the one man who's been a 3-time 200-yard rusher.
Yeah.
Next question's coming from from Antec Wendy about Jay Ajayi. Would you say that Jay Ajayi is a better fit for us than Lamar Miller would have been?
It's hard for me to sit here and say that Jay Ajayi is a better fit for the Dolphins than Lamar Miller. I watched both of them work. I prefer Lamar Miller. So did the Houston Texans. Paid him $23 million for a reason. He's battling some injuries now, but he's still a 1,000-yard back. They're still in the playoffs. So I'm not going to sit here and say that Jay Ajayi is better than Lamar Miller, but I will say that the offensive line is better, and Jay Ajayi's physical style suits this offense a little bit better. But Jay has proven himself as a premier 1,200-yard, 10-touchdown type of back. Now the question is, can he stay healthy? And we will discover this moving forward. But right now he's got the shoulder injury. He's doing okay. He's practicing. More than likely he's going to play against the Patriots. But we need to learn if Jay Ajayi can be durable. Can he become a better pass catcher, which is where Lamar Miller has him right now? And can he be a better pass blocker? That's still a sort of a shortcoming of his game.
All right, we'll talk a little bit about whether we think he should play on Sunday coming up. Next question from Steve. Fair to say Craig Urbick was an upgrade from Anthony Steen?
Considering center play without Mike Pouncey started to become an issue after the San Diego game, I'd have to say yes, because Anthony Steen was struggling. He was really, really struggling. Maybe a lot of that has to do with injuries. Maybe a lot of that has to do with there being so much film on him. But when Craig Urbick, a veteran who started 50-plus NFL games, got in there, got comfortable, his offense started to take better. He created a little bit more, helped create a little bit more surge on the defensive line against a very talented Bills defensive tackle unit of Marcel Darius and Kyle Williams. Yes, they're both injured, but hey, if you play, everybody's injured at this point in the season. They played, and Craig Urbick helped move them. So yes, he is definitely an upgrade over Anthony Steen. The question is he good enough to continue to serve as a center moving forward? Because we all expect Mike Pouncey to come back, and he says he's going to be completely healthy. This isn't something that's going to impact him for the rest of his career, but he hasn't been healthy for 3 seasons now. The Dolphins need to plan accordingly to make sure that they have a quality backup center.
All right. Let's move on and start talking about the big showdown this week against the Patriots. It's Patriots week. Everyone's talking playoffs, looking ahead to what's going on in 2 weeks.
Ooh.
But it is Patriots week. And the big question for this week is who is going to play? How are the Dolphins going to treat this game against the Patriots? Byron Maxwell's banged up. Issa Duke-Caduce now done for the year. Kiko Alonso, Brandon Albert, Bobby McCain, Jay Ajayi. Jelani Jenkins. All guys nursing injuries. Adam Gase seems to say that he is not going to rest his guys. Does that approach make sense?
It does make sense. Why would you switch from the mantra that's worked 1-0 this week? Focus on your opponent. Focus on finishing the task. 11 wins is a very impressive season. 11 wins makes you a top 8 NFL team. That is a huge milestone that the Dolphins could potentially get to. They've beaten the Patriots 3 times at Hard Rock Stadium. So, you know, with the crowd noise, now winning against New England, let's be real.
Sure.
I do matchups and I do film breakdown. And when you watch the Patriots play, people don't realize this, but they've evolved into a running team. What does the Miami Dolphins struggle against? Running teams.
Right.
Okay, they attack you with their tight ends and with back passes to the bats. What do Miami's linebackers struggle with? Coverage of tight ends, Charles Clay, 2 touchdowns, and passes to the backs. And everybody knows Tom Brady. The only way to pressure him is pressuring him up the gut. Where's Miami's defensive line struggling right now, with the exception of Ndamukong Suh? Hell, let me not throw Ndamukong Suh into that pile of turd. That is, it's, you know, so you can't. So if you want to pressure him, are you going to blitz Tom Brady?
No.
No, because he's going to pick you apart. You blitz him, easy identification. Let me throw it to my hot read, catch it in stride. It's gone.
Right.
Now, hard team to play. I think the only way that you can beat them is to stop the run, which and to rough up Tom Brady.
Yeah.
He's 39 years old. Dolphins, I'm not talking about pressure. I'm not talking about sacks. I'm talking about quarterback hits. Get him on the ground. Make him feel like he's 39. And maybe you can get in his head. He is Tom Brady. He is arguably who I think is the best quarterback in NFL history. Maybe best player in NFL history. You can say whatever you want about Dan Marino. You can say whatever you want about Joe Montana. I'm sorry, but he's 39, and he's probably going to get his 5th ring.
Well, that's putting the cart before the horse. But he is playing some of his best football right now at 39.
2 interceptions.
2 interceptions. He's nimbler on his feet.
He is the MVP of the NFL this season. And I know the Patriots won 3 games without him, but he's Tom Brady. 2 interceptions. Look how efficient they are as an offense. And efficient and they take the pressure off their I don't think their defense is anything special. But the offense takes so much pressure off the defense, all they got to be is just okay.
Resting these guys is the prudent thing to do.
No, it's not.
To make a playoff run. Having a 100% healthy Jay Ajayi, or as a healthier Jay Ajayi, a healthier Byron Maxwell, a healthier Brandon Albert is the smart thing. Is this a culture thing? Is this this is the way we play now in Miami? We don't rest guys, and that's the way we're going to do it.
It's not about not resting guys. It's about setting a tone, sending the Patriots a message. You are not going to bully us in this division anymore. We're not scared of you. And I think that that's important. Bill Belichick has not faced this Miami Dolphins team. Now, he's faced the 1-4 Miami Dolphins team, but he has not faced this Miami Dolphins team.
Sure.
The one that has a physical rushing attack. And yes, the Patriots are only allowing 3.9 yards per carry. They're doing pretty well stopping the run. But not many teams have to run against the Patriots because they're always down by so much. They got to pass. Be physical with them. Show them you're going to rough them up. And let them know anytime you face the Miami Dolphins, it's not going to be easy out. I agree with Adam Gase. He's an aggressive person.
But you're seeing that is as important, if not more important, than winning playoff games.
Absolutely. If you get to the playoffs, worry about Pittsburgh when it's Pittsburgh week.
Okay.
Worry about setting the tone for who you are in your AFC East division and your home fan base. Think about this community. How long have we suffered with on the mediocrity merry-go-round? You finally have a team. You finally have a team that garners respect and you might want to go see them at Hard Rock Stadium.
Sure.
You deserve to see their best effort. You deserve to see them stand up to the bully and throw some punches. Might get knocked out, but let's throw some punches.
All right. Let's take our question from Sean, who's along these same lines. Is it worth risking Robert Griffin III type injury, bringing Ryan Tannehill back for the playoffs?
I think the people who believe that Ryan Tannehill is going to play at any point in this season, and that includes the postseason, are insane. Yeah. I watch Ryan Tannehill every week, and he can barely walk. He can barely walk. How is he going to play football?
Especially the way he plays football. You can't just stand back there and
it's good.
Wait in the pocket.
The guy can barely walk.
Yeah.
How are you going to play football?
Right, and each week you're going to say, what's our best chance of winning? And
Absolutely.
right where we've seen with Matt Moore that having a healthy Matt Moore is going to be better than a 60%.
I've always said there's no noticeable, tangible difference
right.
between Ryan Tannehill and Matt Moore. What you saw the last 4 years was an investment in what Ryan Tannehill could be and could become. Okay, Ryan Tannehill finally started that journey to become a good upper echelon top 12 quarterback. I don't think he's there now, but he started it. Okay, yes, he got injured, but you don't want to derail that. So stop worrying about him coming back for this season to play, to get RG3'd, and never be the same quarterback. Worry about getting him healthy for OTAs. Worry about getting him healthy for training camp. And let's pause on the Ryan Tannehill's going to play. I can promise you he's not going to play anymore.
Well, that leads
this season.
Well, that leads us to our next question.
Yeah.
And it comes from Brad. Is there any situation that would allow an open QB competition with Matt Moore and Ryan Tannehill starting next spring?
I think Matt Moore would have to lead the Dolphins to at least the AFC Championship game and put up amazing numbers. But Matt Moore's 32. Mm-hmm. What do we have? Maybe he's got good 4 or 5 years left if he can become a starter. But here, think about it from Adam Gaze's standpoint. Ryan Tannehill's more athletic. He's got a better arm. Can't produce as many big plays as Matt Moore. Matt Moore is a big play producer, but Ryan is more careful with the football, and he's younger.
Yeah. And let's be honest, too.
And if you can win with Matt Moore, why couldn't you win with Ryan Tannehill?
Yeah, and it would be a different deal, too, if this injury happened in the preseason and Matt Moore led them to a 10-5 record.
Yes.
The rest of the team really did buy into Ryan this year.
They started to buy.
They started to buy into Ryan.
Yes.
And it became Ryan's team much more so than it had been in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know,
but they believe in Matt Moore.
I think they believe in Matt Moore, too. But it's still, I mean, you tell me.
They believe in Matt Moore. They've always, the defense particularly, has always felt like they could win with Matt Moore. What the defense likes about Matt Moore is you're going to put up points.
Yeah.
Now, you might give up turnovers. You might be a little bit careless with the ball, but you're going to get 24.
Sure.
And in the past, Ryan Tannehill's problem is he's not going to get you to 24, usually. Matt Moore will get you to 24, if not 30.
All right.
He will do his thing. He will, Matt likes to sling it around. So the question, here's, and this is a good example of what's going on in this game because I'm very curious. Bill Belichick, this is the one thing you always better remember about Bill Belichick as long as he's coaching in the NFL. Whoever your opponent is, he's going to create a blueprint on how to beat you. Mm-hmm. Beat your quarterback, beat your linebackers, beat your defensive tackle, to handle Cam Wake. He's going to create a blueprint of how to beat you. And everybody else in the NFL is going to follow it. I don't know how to play Matt Moore yet, but I guarantee you by the time 4 o'clock rolls around on Sunday, I'll know how to play Matt Moore.
Sure. Wow. I would imagine it involves a big part of stopping J.J.
Okay, yeah, certainly.
Next question comes from Adam. What is your assessment of Neville Hewitt?
Good physical linebacker, bites on too many things that he reads. I do believe that Neville Hewitt should be the nickel linebacker. We're talking about a guy who played safety in college, who was moved. Yes, linebacker doesn't come natural to him. He's right now the base starter. He's got a limited role. I think it's time that the Dolphins expand that role a little bit. Maybe it'll be putting too much on his plate, but athletically I think that he can handle it, and he needs to learn. you're not going anywhere with what you're working with right now. At least try to invest in the guy with a little bit of upside, and that happens to be Neville Hewitt. Spencer Paisinger is battling an injury right now, so we don't know what his availability is, but Spencer Paisinger is just okay. He's been a career special teams player for a reason. And I'm not saying that Neville Hewitt won't be a career special teams player, but there is some upside with Neville Hewitt. And at this point, just like you said exiting the Tennessee game when you benched Mario Williams and Jason Jones, can it get worse? Why not change? Can it possibly get worse? And you've lost one game since you made that change. At linebacker, it's time to take that approach. We need to switch things up. If it's pair Mike Hull with Kiko Alonso, if it's put Neville Hewitt in the nickel package, it's time to switch things up because it can't get worse. This is the worst. We've seen bad linebacking play. Sure. At this point, Philip Wheeler would look good in the Dolphins' defense. That's how bad it is. So it can't get any worse. Why not try Neville Hewitt or Mike Hull? Good God, it's horrible now.
All right, let's move on and talk more about this weekend's game, and let's compare it to Week 2. That was a long time ago. Tom Brady out with Deflategate, still just a touchdown game. Kind of not really indicative of what the game was, as the Patriots blew the Dolphins out in the first half, and then just kind of played prevent.
Prevent limped to the victory with Jacoby Brissett as the starting quarterback.
It was Garoppolo. They brought in Brissett after, right?
After the
injury,
hurt
right.
Notice the Dolphins know how to hurt quarterbacks.
They
do.
Brady. Tom.
Yeah.
Tom. How different will this game be?
The level of quarterback play from New England was here. It's now up here. I think the run game, they started establishing their run identity against Miami, and I think they'll continue to have that kind of running success with LeGarrette Blount. The only thing I think changes is Miami's receiving unit is healthier now. They're in a groove. They have an aggressive quarterback. And I would challenge New England secondary, everyone except for Malcolm Butler. I'm not saying he's a lockdown cornerback, but I'd go after some of those other members of the secondary. I think Patrick Chung and the safety, the other safety that they have, Darren McCourty, I think they're very good. But I think they can bite on some play action fakes, and that's your opportunity to go downfield with Kenny Stills and Devontae Parker. Devontae has been playing very well recently. He had a very good game against the Buffalo Bills, and now that he's healthy again, for this minute that he's healthy again, you need to continue to incorporate him into the offense and be more aggressive with him.
And no one throws to the running backs more than the Patriots do, and that leads to even more stress put on those linebackers when they move out in coverage and split out James White, Dion Lewis, two different things with those two guys.
The Devlin guy, it's going to be a nightmare for these linebackers. Pray for them. They require your prayers.
The Dolphins have struggled recent years, but they've done well against the Patriots at home. They've won 3 straight.
Yeah.
Why?
If we go by those games and you take them on a case-by-case basis, Ryan Tannehill drove the team to a fourth quarter victory, I believe in 2012. Michael Thomas delivered that game-sealing clutch interception in 2013. And then in 2014, 2014, it was the Nosha Moreno game. Where Nosha Moreno bludgeoned them to death.
The one game.
The one game. Last year was a little bit different in the season finale against the Patriots because I personally felt like even though the Patriots were probably playing for home field advantage and that might have cost them a trip to the Super Bowl.
Definitely did.
The Patriots went into that game working on things that they needed for the playoffs. This was our opportunity to work on our running game, which we're going to need for the playoffs. And they didn't coach like a Bill Belichick team. They didn't coach like they were a Bill Belichick team. And I think Bill Belichick learned from that mistake, which probably cost his team a Super Bowl berth because they lost to Denver in the fourth quarter when you probably would have had home field advantage and your crowd. Foxborough is a very intimidating place to play in. I think they'll bring everything to this game to make sure that they do what they need to do to seal up that number 1 seed in the AFC.
All right, let's take our next question from Chris. What are your benchmarks for the Dolphins making a statement against the Patriots this Sunday?
To me, it starts with the defense. You have to see some kind of improvement. I recommended previously linebacker changes. Mike Hull, Neville Hewitt, put those guys, pair them with Kiko Alonso, see what works there.
Yeah.
Because it's not what you're doing right now isn't working. And then particularly we talk about the backs, defending the Patriots tailbacks, and Martellus Bennett. Martellus Bennett is one of my favorite tight ends in the NFL, and he has continued to be one of my favorite tight ends. He's a traditional tight end. He physical run blocking, a brick wall as a pass blocker, gives you 6 touchdowns, can be a red zone threat and a target, and he's also a free agent, and he's been coached by Adam Gase. So think about it, Dolph fans. You need a tight end next year. Martellus Bennett, if you take him from the Patriots, who don't know what the status of Rob Gronkowski is, you might be weakening an opponent.
Sure.
Just saying.
You get some money to spend, too.
Yeah, you'll probably have about $40 million to spend this offseason. Hopefully they spend it wisely. But, yeah, this game, to me, comes down to the play of the Miami linebackers. It's a helpless feeling. but you know, they've got to – here's the Patriots' blueprint. Run, convert a 3rd and 5, throw into slot receivers, throw into your backs, throw into your tight ends. Run, convert a 3rd and 4, throw into slot receivers. Run, take a shot.
Yeah.
Run, convert a 3rd down. And they will stab you. It's just little pricks. And you'll eventually just bleed out. And then when you start bleeding, you start choking on your own blood, they just tie the noose around your neck and let you hang yourself. And
it's really grisly and
it is. So I watched 3 games from them, and I'm talking about some games where I've only watched games where they're coached against good teams or coached against. I like to watch coaching against a defensive coach to see how they approach. And man, a lot of people took some slow, painful deaths against the Patriots, and it's hard to beat them. Brady has to be completely off.
And the only way to do that is to knock him down.
Yeah, knock him down, get physical with him.
Steven asks, assuming we're playing Pittsburgh, which I think is a safe assumption to make at this point, can we beat them again, but this time at their house?
Yeah. I think that the Dolphins can beat the Patriots.
The Steelers.
I'm sorry, the Steelers. And the reason why is I think the Dolphins have what it takes to contain Le'Veon Bell.
Yep.
They did it previously. I think Pittsburgh's run defense is not that great. I think Pittsburgh's defense overall, not that great. And Vance Joseph, I believe, has Big Ben's number in terms of he's played him so much in Cincinnati. He knows how to disguise coverages to give Ben the look that Ben wants. And then when he takes it away, Ben has to adjust to it, and I don't think he's that great at adjusting to it.
What about the fact that now, with Abdul Quddus out, who's playing the other free safety?
Michael Thomas is playing the other free safety spot, has had a decent season. He started 13 games last year at that free safety spot. Great communicator, secondary coach, captain of special teams. The only concern I have about Michael Thomas is not the playmaking ability. It's that he's going to be taken off special teams to become a starter, and he's the most important cog of special teams outside of Walt Aikens, and you might get a little bit of a drop-off in that unit, which would be troubling.
All right, let's take our next question from Kevin. Since the Giants basically have reconstructed their defense and free agency in one offseason, do you think Mike Tannenbaum could do the same with the Fins?
It's possible, and Steve Ross likes to spend money. So I'm sure it's going to be hard for anybody to reel him in if he feels like he's got a 10-win team that just made it to playoffs. If I invest the $40 million into that team, well, clearly more than $40 million, I could get over that hump. However, that's not the right approach to build teams. And I like what the Giants have done, signing OV, Janoris Jenkins, re-signing Jason Pierre-Paul, making drafting some defensive players. I like what the Giants did, but I don't think that's what got them over the hump as a team. Every 4 years, Eli Manning takes his team to the Super Bowl. This just happens to be the 4th year. This season has saved Jerry Reese's job, but it was a desperate attempt. It was a desperate effort, and I would hate to see the Dolphins do something desperate. this offseason. Do they need to add linebackers? Do they need to add defensive tackles? Yes, they do. Do they need to add or re-sign another pass rusher? Yes, they do. But spending irresponsibly is not the right approach.
Spending OV money, you don't need to do that.
No, you don't need to do that.
So what do you think? What's going to happen this weekend?
I'm not going to pick against the Patriots. I can't. I would love to say that there's going to be some miraculous, spirited Hard Rock Stadium, and the Dolphins are going to take on the bully and headbutt him and make them feel like they're inferior. But reality is, it's Tom Brady's revenge tour, and he's exacting revenge on the entire NFL for his 4-game suspension. Everybody ganged up on Tom Brady and made sure that he sat out 4 games for Deflategate, and Brady's pissed off.
Well, and as much as we talked at the beginning of the show about how much for the Dolphins it's a big game to prove that they are, that they're going to go toe-to-toe with the leader, it's still, there's that motivation on that side too that the Patriots have because of what happened in Week 17 and because of what happened with Deflategate, that they are out there to crush.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to be able to crush the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins just can't beat themselves. They got to play. They have to play a clean game just to make it a fourth quarter game, and I think they can do that. But I'm going to pick a 28-21 Patriots victory. They'd have to play a clean game, and with Matt Moore, you're never going to play a clean game. Sorry.
The scores are close, but I've already submitted it, so I can tell it's 27-21. I have the Patriots winning as well. So we'll see how Week 17 goes, but the best part about it is it doesn't matter. Dolphins are in the playoffs regardless of what happens.
And we'll be back here next Wednesday.
Oh, to talk about a game that's still about to happen. Okay. If you're watching us live, make sure you send us your questions using the hashtag Xomar on Twitter or right there in the chat, and we will answer them on X's and Omar Overtime. If you'd like to just listen to the show and you don't want to watch us, you can always download the podcast by going to the iTunes store and searching for X's and Omar. Thanks for watching. Great.
Tell the people what's going on here.
Tell the people, hey, this is X and Omar Overtime. We got to all our show questions. Now it's time to take the ones that you have asked us live during the show.
Okay.
Let's see what we got here.
Let me bring up.
We are on. And we're on.
All right, here you go. Here's some chat questions.
I'll give you one right now. This is from Steve.
All right.
Is safety a position like left tackle where if you don't notice them, they're doing a good job?
Absolutely, it is. I noticed the safety play against Sammy Watkins last week in Buffalo, and that's because in zone coverage, Bakari Rambo and Issa Abdul-Qudus and Michael Thomas consistently let Sammy Watkins get behind them. So yeah, obviously if a safety's in the box, he's going to make tackles or he's going to be blitzing or he's got a coverage responsibility. So you're going to kind of pay attention to him. But yeah, safety's like left tackle. Speaking of left tackles, Brandon Albert. Admirable season.
Great.
Two sacks allowed this year in 15. Well, he doesn't play 15 games. That's the biggest question and concern. Moving forward, it'll be curious to see if the Dolphins are going to honor their $8.9 million salary to him for next year, or are they going to start rebuilding the offensive line? And
it's curious because it's a tough decision to make.
It is a tough decision to make. Can you count on Brandon Albert for 16 or at least 13 of 16 games? And I don't know the answer.
I don't know what I would do either.
Here's what I like about Brandon Albert. I don't worry about whoever the quarterback's left side is, blind side. It's good.
Right.
When you give up 2 sacks all season at left tackle, creates a lot of opportunities for your offense.
Yeah.
And to me, that's worth $9 million.
Especially when you've got basically a cast that keeps him from doing anything. All right, Guy, is re-signing Kenny still a priority now in this Gase offense? Coming more onto that, it was certainly a no about 8 weeks ago. And then we're seeing him more and more making big plays.
I don't know. It depends on what the price is.
Okay.
I'm personally not putting Kenny Still's price at more than $12 million a season. When you factor in this, he's got one ongoing coverage most of the game. while he plays an important role because he's a spacer, and spacers are important because that keeps everything open for Jarvis Landry, that keeps everything open for the running game. Spacers are important. So if you do get rid of him, you have to add another spacer because you don't have one on your roster.
Right.
That's a receiver that can take the top off of defense, and which is what Kenny Stills has done all season. 8 touchdowns. He takes the top off of defense. But considering you have to pay Jarvis Landry because he's not coming to camp on his existing contract. If you think Jarvis Landry is going to play the next season for $1.2 million, you're kidding yourself. Jarvis Landry is probably going to hold out until he gets a new contract. He's in the neighborhood of $11 to $13 million a year. I would give him a 5-year, $60 million contract, half of it being completely, fully guaranteed. If he does not accept that, I might let him hold out. And might let him hold out. I can fine him enough so that he'd be forced to come in and play on his $1.2 million. You continue to not accept that, you will play on your $1.2 million salary, pout all you want, and then the next year, I'll probably just franchise tag you. So for a collection of 2 years, I will have paid you $16 million. So you choose.
Right. What you want to know. Right.
What you want to do. But that Jarvis Landry situation is going to be a hard one from this standpoint. He's the leader of the team. He's the alpha male of the team. He works hard. As a management, you need to set the example to your teammates, to your team, that if you do the right things, we will take care of you. But Jarvis has to be reasonable and fair because Jarvis doesn't produce touchdowns. Jarvis is not a speed-oriented player. So one injury.
He's not going to get Odell money.
Well, he's probably going to want Odell money.
But he's not. But you're saying is because of the touchdowns, he's not deserving of the top, but A-, 1B level.
He deserves to average what the top 7 receivers in the league are making.
Okay.
I don't know that exact number, but Jarvis is a. I don't even know if I would put him in the top 10, but he needs to make top 10 money.
Would you pay Stills or spend a little more to bring in a guy like Martellus Bennett to help the tight ends?
I'm giving that money to Martellus Bennett.
Okay.
Because he helps you with the run game. Even though Kenny Stills helps you with the run game, I can go draft another spacer.
Okay.
I can just go find a guy who runs a 4.3.
Sure.
And add him to this
What
offense.
does Jakeem Grant run? I'm sorry.
I meant a real receiver. Sorry.
Okay. Hippo SMC. Could Dolphins sign both Alshon Jeffrey and Martellus Bennett, considering the Gase connection?
That's a lot of money, and I'm not sure Alshon Jeffries really fits into this offense unless you're going to make Devontae Parker a spacer, and I don't really like that. I don't think so. I'm not a big Alshon Jeffries fan. He's got weight issues. Once he gets paid,
I don't really want him either. Jimmy wants to know, why not let Drake carry the load versus the Pats? Rest Ajayi's shoulder.
I think you need to give Drake a couple more opportunities. I think Damian Williams is going to be a very important piece to. I think the best way to beat the Patriots is Damian Williams. Backs that can catch passes out the backfield and make things happen. So I would be playing Damian Williams a little bit more. I'd probably give Kenyon Drake 5 carries. Would I limit Jay Ajayi to probably an 18-carry workload? Yeah.
Jim wants to know about should Wake win Comeback Player of the Year. You've written about that, Jim.
Absolutely.
So
Will he win Comeback Player of the Year? No. It'll either be given to Le'Veon Bell or Jordy Nelson because in the last 15 years of the NFL, only 2 defensive players have won Comeback Player of the Year, and Miami Dolphins get absolutely no respect from the national media.
Ouch.
So None.
So Gase is not winning Coach of the Year either.
No, he's not.
Can, let's see, Malk FYA, I don't know what that's supposed to be. Can Akins give us quality play at free safety?
No, they don't trust Walt Akins.
It's terrible.
No, don't
at
say
free
that.
Safety. He hasn't been great.
He hasn't played a free safety. He hasn't played a defensive snap all season. So I'm a Walt Akins fan. I like Walt Akins.
I love him on special teams.
Is he the sharpest tool in the shed? No. Do you need intelligence to play safety? Yes.
Is Michael Thomas the smartest guy on the team?
Yeah, it's probably close. Yeah. There are certain positions where you put a premium on intelligence. Receiver, quarterback.
Receiver?
Yes, receiver. There are so many route adjustments. Why can't just anybody go to the New England Patriots and work? Because on every given route, Tom Brady has like 3 adjustments based on the coverages. A receiver has to make the split decision and be on the same page with Tom Brady. That's why they've got an entire squad of deceptively fast wide receivers.
Because they know what they're supposed to be doing at the right time.
And it works for them because based on if you press them or you play zone, the receiver has a different route, and you gotta be able to identify and recognize it. So receiver is a very important position intelligence-wise. They have more hot routes than anybody else in the NFL, and quarterback, receiver, inside linebacker, and then safety. I do not play dumb safeties. Dumb safeties are easy for defensive coordinators or quarterbacks to manipulate.
Dolphin Spence 99. Are we not making a big enough deal about the Abdul Quddus injury, and how much does this affect them going forward?
Did we make a big enough deal
we
about
talked
Rashad
about
Jones' injury?
Yeah, well, there you go.
It's a scheme-based thing with the Dolphins defense, and in fact, Vance Joseph is a specialist at creating schemes and play calling that benefits his secondary. So sometimes he gets caught with his pants down. He got caught with his pants down a couple times against Sammy Watkins, but usually it pays off for them in the end.
Pretty Fly Guy, by the way, wants to compliment you on your cream blazer with the black tie. That is white. That is not cream. That is white.
Appreciate that. It's my New Year's Eve edition of X's and Omar.
We went through the whole show without actually referencing it.
This is a question from Kevin Posada, 212. I'm going to let you answer this.
Okay, good.
Because I'm curious what your answer. I do have an answer. Why are the Dolphins ranked 20th in defense and offense, but are still winning?
Why are they?
Yes.
Because of coaching and because they make the plays at the end of the game to win games.
Clutch performances.
Clutch performances.
Now, it's clutch performances coaching, luck, or playmaking?
Part of each.
Okay. I'm.
There is definitely luck involved. And I've put out some luck out there, and people say, "Oh, it's not just lucky, it's but there is definitely.
Thank you.
Definitely.
I said that, and people are critical of me. I'm sorry, but you've gotten lucky a lot. This season, the ball, they make the football in an oblong shape so that it bounces funny ways. Sometimes the ball bounces to you. Sometimes it bounces away from you. That's the whole point of the game. That's why the ball is shaped the way that it is.
I had this argument over the Christmas dinner table.
Yeah.
About
what
I like about Gase and what I would want in my coaches is that I don't want a coach that cheers an opponent's missed field goal. Because when an opponent just misses a field goal, that is luck. Okay. Rex Ryan's going crazy on the sideline because Franks missed the 45-yarder whenever that was in the middle of the game. That is just luck that your opponent misses a field goal. So the fact that Dan Carpenter missed that 45-yarder in overtime, that is luck. Gase is not, going losing his mind.
Here is sometimes I agree with you on that. But sometimes that we talk about Vance Joseph, and he's very good at play calling. But as I mentioned, sometimes he gets caught with his pants down.
Sure.
It's not that the opposing defensive coordinator just said, "Oh, look at this situation. They're in this coverage. Do this." No, the play is already called. They're at the line of scrimmage. Miami Dolphins then show their defense and they play a snap. Sometimes that coordinator just gets lucky calling the right play at the right time.
Right. No,
and the quarterback sees it. There were some plays in the Bills game where Charles Clay's wide open. Charles Clay's wide open. Quarterback just didn't see it. And is that coaching scheme or just luck?
The
number one play in Ndamukong Suh, probably the most important play of that game is in overtime, right before the punt that led to the Jay big run that got them in scoring position. And Ndamukong Suh moves out of his A gap to move to the side, to stand in a passing lane and bat the ball down. Now, while that is playmaking, and that is probably, that wasn't called for by the coach. That was playmaking. I will give it that. But Tyrod Taylor is going to the receiver on the sidelines trying to convert a 3rd and 6. But deep down the field, there's Charles Clay on a seam route, wide open. We're talking game over. He didn't see it. That's luck.
Well, you're right. And there's playmaking and just how many big tipped passes have just been right in the, right in their hands. And now that's a play. Hitting that ball up.
They weren't making them
That's
earlier in the
making that
season.
play.
They weren't making them early in
But
that
the fact
season.
that a guy's right there, that Mike Hull is right there, that Kiko Alonso's right there, that those guys are right there, a little bit of luck involved.
And they've been unlucky too with
Sure.
some of the things, but they've overcome that, which to me is coaching.
One last one, just
right.
because I feel like we need to just talk about the playoffs a little bit.
Okay.
Big picture a little bit. 3 teams have backup quarterbacks. Should we be talking about the Dolphins being a dark horse in the playoffs? On the AFC side.
I think they could beat any team except for the Patriots. The Ravens, if the Ravens had made it to the playoffs, I would say Ravens and Patriots. But they could beat Pittsburgh. They already showed you they could beat Pittsburgh. They could beat Houston. Kansas City, a little scary. Oakland, without their starting quarterback.
Yeah.
With their starting quarterback, I don't see what's special about Oakland.
Okay.
They've got a lot of turnovers. Okay, well, Miami doesn't really turn the ball over. Who am I missing? I really don't think there's any team except for New England that they really can't beat in the playoffs.
Right.
Kansas City, they're another team that you're going to have to beat them. They're not going to beat themselves.
Sure.
But I think that Miami has what it takes to beat them. Those matchups play a little bit favorably to them. So here's a question from Vince DiMatti. I hope I said that right. Speaking of that, you speak of alpha males a lot. Who do you feel are the alpha males on this team? Okay, let's count alpha males.
Okay. Landry, Pouncey are the easy ones.
Mm-hmm. Cameron Wake is not
Rashad
really an alpha
Jones.
male. Yeah, I'll throw Rashad Jones into
Do you
that
think
pile.
Maxwell is one?
No,
Okay.
I mean, he's a confident guy, but he's not really an alpha male personality. I think Brandon Albert has an alpha male personality.
Yes.
I think a lot of the young guys, Jakeem Grant certainly has an alpha male personality. Kenyon Drake has an alpha male
Yes, he
personality.
does.
Jay Ajayi, he doesn't really have an alpha male personality, but
He's not the opposite either. He's kind of...
yeah, I think he's sort of in the middle ground. Kiko Alonso is kind of in the middle ground. I think he kind of has an alpha male personality. Not totally, but there are certainly far more alpha males on this Dolphins team than there Joe Philbin's Dolphins team. Joe Philbin's Dolphins team, he got a little queasy if you had an alpha male personality.
And
Just a little queasy.
At least one of the reasons why they're at where they're at now.
Yeah.
Next week, we'll break down this Patriots game, and we'll take a look at the playoffs. Can't wait. We'll see you then.